So now we discuss about working of PNP transistor. So the emitter based junction power biased by the battery, and the collector based junction is reverse biased in the battery. So the directed for the emitter and base collector currents, this one in the figure. And EB junction is the forward bias and the CB junction is reverse bias. Forward bias voltage is small as compared to the reverse bias voltage. So when forward bias is applied across the heavy doped emitter, and the majority charge carriers moves towards the base, the cause emitter current. The holes enter into the base as the n-type material and combine with the electrons. And the base is lightly doped, due to which only few holes combine with the electrons. So in the base, and the remaining constitute the base current IB. So this base current enters into the collector region. This reversed bias potential of the collector region causes a high attractive force on the holes reaching collector junction. So thus the holes are attract or collected at the collector. So current conductions within the PNP transistor is by holes. So however, the external connecting wires, the current is still by electrons. So the external connecting wires, the current is still by the electrons. So now input and output characteristics of a bipolar junction transistor. So the input characteristics is the graph between input voltage and output current at constant output voltage. The output characteristics is a graph between output voltage and output current at constant input current. And this is the input characteristics of a common base bipolar junction transistor. So the common base is the input characteristics is the emitter amplifier circuit using NPN and PNP. So the emitter common to the both the input and output circuits. The emitter forward bias using the base emitter battery, and due to the forward bias resistance, input circuit is low. The collector is reverse bias by using collector emitter battery VCC and base. So in a common emitter circuit, the collector current controlled by the base current rather than the emitter current. So we know that in the transistor large collector current corresponds a very small base current. So therefore the input and signal applied to the base is a very small change in the base current produces a much more the larger changes in the collector current. This is a very sustainable current gains is obtained. And the output characteristics of a common base bipolar junction transistor, and this collector base voltage gradually increases and to the current. And input characteristics of common base bipolar junction is the emitter current increases rapidly with the small increases in emitter base voltage. So it means the input resistance is very small. The emitter current is almost independent of collector base voltage. This leads to the conclusion that the emitter current is almost independent of collector voltage. As common base bipolar junction, the collector current IC varies with VCP only at very low temperature. So the transistor is never operated in this region. So when the value of VCP is raised above 1 to 2 volt, so the collector current becomes constant as indicated by the straight horizontal curves. It means that so now IC is independent of VCP and depends upon IU only. So very large changes in the collector base voltage produces only a tiny change in the collector current. This means the output resistance is very high. And this is the common bipolar junction input characteristic. Common emitter bipolar junction. So the transistor gives a faithful amplification only if the proper associated with the circuit elements are used, and the biasing circuit and the input characteristics and the emitter bypass characteristics, the coupling capacitor, and then the output characteristics of common emitter. So the input characteristics of a common emitter, the curves showing a variation of the base current IB with a base emitter voltage VBE at a constant collector emitter voltage, which are called the input characteristics. And output is that curve showing the variation of collector current which with the collector emitter voltage we see at a constant base current IB, called the output characteristics of your transistor. Thank you. See you next series.